I want to review where I stood on the NBA media rights deals because there's been a bit of blowback that's come my way, whether it was from John Skipper or anyone else. I was very clear from the beginning that Warner Brothers Discovery was not going to get a deal with the NBA. And I was also clear that Warner Brothers Discovery did not want to do a deal with the NBA. Warner Brothers, by filing suit against the NBA after the NBA gave its package to Amazon, Disney, and NBC, they did it in a way that was a negotiation, both with the public, the shareholders, the board, and the NBA. There was never the intent of Warner Brothers Discovery to sue the NBA and to win. They didn't want to match the Amazon deal. They didn't want to match the NBC deal. They did not want to spend the money because they're not making money. And what's worse, the NBA product on these networks in and of itself at these prices is not a profitable venture. You can allocate revenue from different sources to make it look profitable. What do I mean? If you get extra Max subscribers, you could say, oh, that's because we have the NBA on TNT, so we're going to put some of the Max revenue into the silo of the NBA and show some profitability. But the board, the actual fiduciary board of Warner Brothers Discovery, they're not fooled by such accounting tricks. I can make anything look profitable or anything look like it operates at a loss. And do it legally. But a true operator doesn't get fooled by that. So I'm not taking a victory lap for my flowers, except to tell you that Warner Brothers settled, and guess what? They're not getting the NBA. There was talk, oh, they're going to settle. There's going to be a fourth package. No, there was never going to be a fourth package. That would be renegotiating with the people who have all the inventory already with the three packages. If the NBA wanted to offer TNT a fourth package to allow for Charles Barkley and Shaq and Kenny to survive on TNT, they would have done it months ago. Over a year ago, but I digress over how early you start these negotiations with your media partners. So lo and behold, we get word Friday or Saturday that now there's been a blockbuster settlement. Front Office Sports, which is a great organization. You should engage with their content for sports business. They're fantastic. Adam White and his leadership group talked to us about all the different things that they've learned from their sources about what the plan is. And the only thing people were focused on, of course, which is only people who aren't invested in Warner Brothers Discovery. Because if you're a shareholder, if you have a share of stock of Warner Brothers Discovery and you looked at this news and said, wait, tell me what's happening with Shaq, then I would say that I hope you don't invest all of your money and that it's under your mattress. Because anyone who has any sort of finance knowledge or understanding of markets. So what's the situation with the expense of the four people who we gave money to, like Charles Barkley, $200 million? What are we doing with these guys? The big news is that you're going to get to watch them on Disney, on ABC and ESPN. Because while the NBA and Warner Brothers were settling, Warner Brothers was doing a deal to license the way we license Nothing Personal to Meadowlark. That is what Warner Brothers Discovery, they own inside the NBA. And they did a license deal to license the show to Disney. Why? Disney could have done its own pregame show and postgame show. John Skipper would tell you and has told you that no one's going to go to a different channel to watch a pre and postgame show when they don't have the game. I don't fully agree with that. Plenty of people watch our pre and postgame show on CBS Sports HQ during the World Series, and there's no World Series game on in between. If you have the right personalities or the right people, in theory, you would go and watch that pregame, but not the value that accompanies the expense. the expense of doing inside the NBA out of Atlanta, the amount you're paying your talent, the math doesn't work. So Warner Brothers said, I'm not going to put on inside the NBA on TNT and then have people switch over to ESPN to watch the game. There's no way I can maximize my revenue, and the board is going to look at what I'm doing, and I'm going to be a prize fool. So therefore, why don't I cut a deal where Disney pays me? We give them inside the NBA. We'll produce it for them, which means we'll get paid to also do production services. It'll be our show. And for ESPN, you write a check and you have a built-in audience for your streaming. It'll be part of ESPN, their direct-to-consumer launch that's happening. ABC will have it during the finals. So that will be very helpful to Disney. It is one of those amazing scenarios that is a straight win-win. Of course, people are writing a bunch of things about this. I read a great one. Disney's going to be despondent because Charles Barkley there's editorial control, which means that Turner is producing the show and that ESPN just presses play. But it's like having your biggest sponsor. Imagine me going on the air and MFing DraftKings. What kind of idiot would I have to be to do that? A, I wouldn't want to do it because why would I? Because they're cool. But B, it just seems stupid financially. You think Charles Barkley is going to get on the air on ESPN and criticize ESPN in a way that is deep and cutting enough that will bother them? He's not going to bite the hand that feeds him. And make no mistake, ESPN, Disney, ABC, they're feeding that hand now. So Warner Brothers Discovery settles, and there's a bunch of things in the settlement that will make you smile. They have a few rights from the NBA, but it's really rights that they had already for some international stuff. They do some production stuff for the NBA, some digital rights stuff. They basically are going to announce when it happens all of these different things that they got. Of course, the biggest announcement is the thing that they don't have to give, and that's the amount of the rights fee. So then I started thinking about the deal, and from a consumer standpoint, does it really matter whether you're going to TNT to see Barkley, whether you're going to ESPN to see Barkley? It's like when Letterman moved from NBC to CBS. You found him. I've had this discussion with many people that their platform, Howard Stern, did he lose people going from terrestrial radio to Sirius? Maybe a couple, but over time, he got the money up front. It's like being behind a paywall when you're a podcast and being afraid of it because, oh no, I'll lose the audience. No one's going to pay for it. I think that when you have an opportunity to sell yourself, your product, you don't give it away. It doesn't work.